kitchen gun. Sparkles like new. There, all clean again. Sparkles like new. I love you, kitchen gun.
Bobbery is truly an enigma. He's not ridiculously overwhelming like Yoshi or Goombella can be, but he's also not ridiculously overhated like Flurry. With attacks that deal solid to great damage, even if at the expense of a lot of FP being exhausted, he has a lot of potential to do very well. But Bobbery is also unfortunate enough to have absolutely no attacks that ignore defense, so it's really anyone's guess as far as how good he really can be as a partner. But let's be real here, guessing is for nerds, so let's actually see what he's capable of. But here's one more question to ask before we begin. Of all the partners, assuming you've actually seen every single solo run I've done up to this point, which was your favorite partner that I've actually covered in this entire series? Any comments, of course, will be appreciated. Thank you for waiting. Let's begin. It's showtime! Bobbery faces a very similar dilemma to Vivian. The first chapter you get him in, he cannot be ranked up before you actually can battle the first boss, because road port is closed off. And of course, I am not allowing glitches like Hazard Respawn to be used because that would be very unfair for Vivian since she could not be ranked up at all in Chapter 4. That being said, Bobbery is more than capable of handling Chapter 5 at base rank. Being that he is an explosive and can use explosive attacks, he actually does more damage to embers than most other partners can do. Something that applies both to his bomb attack as well as his bomb squad. A move that I will explain as we go into the fight with Cortez. Bomb Squad is a projectile attack. For 3 FP, Bobbery will throw out 3 bombs that will detonate after 2 turns, and each bomb does 3 damage apiece. If you throw out a second bomb squad, however, your previous bomb squad can set the second bomb squad off, allowing you to deal as much as 18 damage to an enemy with 0 defense, using only 6 FP before Flower Saber piece. Cortez does have a defense point, but that doesn't stop this move from being so strong. In fact, there's a certain entity in his second phase that makes this move even more devastating to hit him with. During the first phase, if you can get Cortez down to like 2 or less HP without knocking him out, and then use Bomb Squad twice on his bone pile, and you align the Bomb Squad so that they can also hit this blue crystal that comes up, or gem, whatever you want to call it, after hitting him twice in his bone pile, it will expose the crystal, and Bomb Squad can hit both the bone pile and the blue gem with a single explosion. And that allows you to actually be able to beat Cortez Phase 2 in 0 turns. This is because the blue gem actually has negative defense to everything. And one explosion doing 6 damage a pop is incredible. This tactic also would allow you to be able to beat Cortez in its 3rd phase before we could eat the audience's souls, but unfortunately my alignment was not really spot on. Which, to be honest, I'm not too disappointed by because your throws would need to be pretty much perfect. You'd have to deal 8 damage to Cortez with your bomb squad, which means throwing out 2 bomb squads apiece, but only having 4 bombs directly under him, and maybe having the other 2 under his weapons that just cannot reach him or something. And then land 6 more bombs with bomb squad right under him to knock him out. But I didn't get that, so he ended up eating the audience's souls, and I did have to use some items to restore my FP. Fortunately, I had Mario and Bobbery have ample defense, so the weapons would not be that devastating to either of the two, and with just enough bomb squads, we slowly but surely just wrestled the victory away from Cortez and into our grip. And who do we see in that starboard bow? Well, it's Lord Crump and his cross knots. I only have one thing to say about this fight, and that's just to make absolutely sure you have some means of restoring your FP. Lord Crump will consistently have crossouts blocking your path to actually bomb him, so you have really no choice but to use Bomb Squad repeatedly, because that's the only way you're going to be able to reach Lord Crump. For this reason, investing in Power Plus Ps really is not worth it at all. Just invest as much in defense as you possibly can, because fortunately for you, even though Power Plus does not affect Bomb Squad at all, it also means that you have no reason to invest in Power Plus Ps just because it's not going to do you any good. So just invest in more defense and just take as few damage as possible. I just so happen to have a few golden leaves in reserve, but you can also use Whack-A-Bumps if you have absolutely no other resources available to you. There also is of course a gem and gel you can find in Keel Hall Key, but you know, it just helps to always be ready for these kinds of things. Of course, my FP is also just really low, so it may not be a bad idea to have at least a little bit more FP. Maybe 15 should be enough, because I know I used Bomb Squad like 7 times. Just guard well, and soon you'll be ending Chapter 5 proper. We now cast our sails back to Roadport, and we have to rank up our partner Bobbery for the fights up ahead. We of course have access to Bob on Bass at Ultra rank, which is going to be a very strong attack that does 8 damage to everything without defense. But the lofty cost of 9 FP is a pretty big drawback. And then we also have Holdfast. To the uneducated, this move is entirely useless for this challenge. But I can promise you, this move will be seeing a lot of usage in part 2 of this challenge in Chapter 8. But I'll cross that bridge when we get there, and trust me, I will carry you across just fine. Regardless, it's time for Chapter 6, and as you already know, there's only one boss of interest here, and it being Smorg. For this fight, my gameplay revolved entirely around making sure that Mario would not take any damage if necessary to make sure he was just completely safe, and then having Bobbery use Bomb Squad to then knock out all the Miasmas either using Bob-Omb-Bash or using items like Earthquakes. Smorg's basic attack has an attack power of 5. I could have went up this fight without any damage dodge Ps and just scarred a single time, and then I just keep getting hit until Bobbery falls only having 1 HP left, but doing it too early would be a bad idea. Bobbery is not Yoshi. He cannot just deplete a boss's HP in just a one fell swoop because I got a little bit of chip damage. I have to keep nickel and diming Smorg with Bomb and Bomb Squad until his HP falls like below 30 at least. And while I'm doing that, I need to keep my FP high as well, and I have a lot of FP pluses, so I'm going to do that too because yeah, 10 FP or even 15 for that matter is not enough for Smorg. Because yeah, Bob-Omb-Bash is a very extensive attack and it really shows in this challenge. And as you all are aware, Mario is like the king of chess. If he goes down, you lose. So heal him when necessary. I did have a pretty big inaccuracy here, however, because I don't know why, but I thought I had to like use Bomb Squad as Smorg was entering into its like, let's say, vulnerable phase because he's completely exposed, but I don't think I really had to. I used Bomb Squad, and I was lucky enough to get knocked into peril on this turn, so I used Bob-Omb-Bash to knock out the Miasma and then start slamming Smorg. And I was doing decent damage, yeah, but then the claw came out and I got hit by it. And I did 14 damage with my Bob-Omb-Bash, and I was expecting it to still be alive, but I actually knocked Smorg out this turn, which I was kind of surprised by. I'm not going to complain because ultimately I still won, but I feel like I miscounted because I thought he had more HP than that. But, oh well, you know what goes on now. We get our L emblem, we get ourselves the fixed crystal star, and we're ready for Chapter 7 soon enough. But before we talk about Magnus from Grapple 2.0, 2 things. One, I actually lost the original footage for this boss fight because, well, Twitch, unlike YouTube, is too cheap to afford the space to keep your videos there indefinitely unless you save them as highlights. So my original run of Magnus from Grapple 2 is completely lost to time. I had to look through a lot of my save files and then try to find a save that was at least close enough to Chapter 7 so I can record it, but it also meant that I don't have Atomic Boot either, and I can't find any save file that's even close to that with Bobbery unlocked. I did work out something, but you probably won't like it very much. And 2, how does my microphone sound? I got a new headset lately, and I'm just curious to know if you think it sounds good or not. Just say so in the comments down below, and I would really appreciate your input. Alright, let's go with Magnus 2 now. This boss fight is ultimately pretty dang straightforward. After using my bomb attack twice, Magnus 2 will use his X punches and shoot them out. For this reason, I use Bomb Squad to knock them out as soon as they come out and then just keep attacking. From that point forward, I use Bob-Omb-Bash whenever they come back out again because I cannot predict when they come out next time. And otherwise rely on my bomb, use Waka Bumps to heal myself if I have to, maybe using Gem and Jellies if my FP gets low, you get the idea. I do however find it mission critical to make sure you can at least block 3 points of damage if it came down to it because the audience cannon is looking for blood. And you need to be ready to guard if you absolutely have to. You also won't have much use for Courage Shells in Chapter 8, so using a Courage Shell to block the damage from the audience cannon is very much advised. And as always, you have to make sure your HP can stretch, because you really do not want to use more items than you have to, or waste turns on Mario when you can keep attacking. By the way, I was playing this fight without sound because I figured I didn't want to turn my TV on, and I got frozen because I can't guard properly when I can't hear the sound of the ice just blowing. And being frozen ended up killing me. So that's a wonderful, wonderful blunder right there to report to you all. As for the second attempt, well, Magnus 2 really loves his freaking audience cannon. It's a good thing I don't need SP because that would otherwise be a problem for me. And it didn't hurt that we hit a little bit of karmic justice for this bully, because then the ice just froze him over, and well, even though my FP was really low, I was basically already about to win because he cannot attack me anymore, and that's what I just call some good old-fashioned karmic retribution. But we're not done yet. We still have Atomic Boot to show off, and I managed to reclaim just some very much lost footage of how Atomic Boot basically went. And just so you know, this is not meant for mortal eyes, so you may just ascend to a higher plane of existence after watching it. So with that, enjoy the clip. Alright, you overblown phantom of the PP. Oh hey, are you gonna be mean to me? Cause I don't appreciate that. Quiet you! Meet my kids! We're gonna blow you up! Wait, what? Bro, I'm already dead. You can't kill me. I'm gonna kill you. Man, we've been threatened! It's time for the Intercontinental Ballistic Sweep Explosion Ultimax Cannon! Wait, did you just throw your children at me? Bang, 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 bang! All in a day's work, Mario. My mission is complete. Hey kids, it's me, Bobbery, dolls in your door. Yes, my name is in fact Bobbery, Paper Mario, the dolls in your door. It runs in the family. Respect my name or I won't respect your kids. Are you enjoying this video? I sure hope so, because I think Aaron really worked hard on it, and I think he would really appreciate if you liked the video too. He obviously saved the best for last, which is why I'm the last one of this challenge series. Miss Mouse, who's that? And he wants me to tell you that if you want to watch more of these partner-only challenges, he did one for literally every other partner before me, from Koops to Yoshi. So support him by watching his videos, and maybe subscribing for more. You may not see me anymore, but you'll see a lot more Paper Mario. After all, we all share the last name, Paper Mario, the dolls in your door. Now then, the main event, Chapter 8, otherwise and better known as the 1,000-Year Door, with only Bobbery. Now, funny thing, along with Atomic Boo, I don't have footage for the freaking File of Dark Bones either. But what I do have, at least, is the Riddle Tower. And as you can see, I do 6 damage with my bomb and 8 damage with my Bob-omb Bass. So one of the ones, and then 2 of the other 2s, and this thing is about say adieu. But let's get into the real meat of this challenge. Yeah, let's go over Gloomtail. This is probably my most hated boss in this entire challenge now. Not just with Bobbery, but every partner, because every single one of them, except for Flurry and maybe Yoshi, had a lot of trouble here. However, I did end up finding a much more efficient way of getting through this fight without having a bunch of HP on Mario. Have him only having 15 HP, maybe some less stands equipped, and how about a handy little item called the Couple's Cake, which I got from Gunther on Keel Hall Key. This item acts as a slow shroom you can only use on your other character. So if you had Bobbery use a Couple's Cake, he can only use it on Mario, or if Mario had a Couple's Cake and he used it, he can only use it on his partner. After attacking a single time, I would Couple's Cake on Mario and have the HP restoration keep him alive the entire time. When in danger, he will only take 2 damage from the breath as long as I guard. If he's out of danger, he'll take 6 damage, but here's the thing. As long as my HP is manipulated properly, Mario will never end up at 6 HP. At 7, he'll fall to 1, then to 3 because of the HP going up, and then back down to 1 if another breath hits him. So he is basically guaranteed to survive for at least the first few 10 turns. Which coincidentally is all I really need. For Bobbery, I had a very iffy plan. I say iffy because even though I managed to beat Gloomtail with the idea I had, the plan itself basically failed. I equipped as many power increasing badges as I possibly could, along with Power Rush and Mega Rush, and that also includes P up, knee down P, mind you, as well as my Flower Saver Ps, with the intention of spamming Bob-omb Bass on Gloomtail. What I wanted to do was get Gloomtail within, let's say, 3 HP of 48, and then start slamming him with Bob-omb Bass after I heal myself. Likewise, just like with Vivian and her burn damage, I was trying to use Bomb Squad to drop Gloomtail below the damage trigger for him to use his special attacks like his Earthquake and Mega Breath, this time to knock Gloomtail out before he could get his Mega Breath off and knock him out. I had plenty of items and I thought all I had to do was just do it, right? But no. To be honest, this fight was actually a lot more luck reliant than I thought it would be, and this was when I was able to manipulate the damage properly to my liking. But there were still some spotty issues here. First of all, I can't really do much to guarantee that Mario is always getting hit, and that means that if Gloomtail was able to play his cards right, he can actually drop Mario to a fatal HP value where he cannot survive a Poison Breath. So in short, if Mario's HP was not either at max or at least an odd number, then yeah, he's in some pretty big doo-doo. And you don't want a chance to guard because if he gets poisoned, that's going to make things even worse. And by even worse, I mean practically impossible. No matter how you slice it, this fight is freaking hard. In all honesty, it made the fight surprisingly difficult to manipulate because I just thought I had my ducks all in a row, but I guess there were some quackers up in there. And my one and only victory only came about because of Fog. Yeah, remember that thing that annoyed me to no end in Vivian only? Well, in this challenge, Fog was actually only good for me. Because I don't know if Bob-omb Bass just never misses in Fog, but it sure does heck feel like it. Because every time I use Bob-omb Bass in the Fog, it would blow it away. Sometimes it would bring it right back because the Fog is just anal like that. But it never made Bobbery miss. Like, he would miss if he tried using a standard bomb, but Bomb Squad never really had that problem. And Bob-omb-Bass actually seems to always hit even through fog, which is amazing. I never actually knew that, but it really came in handy here because on the final turn that Gloomtail had to attack, when I thought I had him hooked, but nope, he actually survived the last Bob-omb-Bass I used. I thought I was a goner, and my hope was way too low, so if either Mario or Bobbery was hit by the Mega Breath, that would be another loss. He missed both Bobbery and Mario with his Mega Breath, and I actually lucked out like in a ridiculous way. I did not think I would have any chance of surviving that, but the game proved me wrong. I still hate fog, but that was clutch. With that much being said, however, the fight with the Shadow Sirens Redux was a piece of cake. I was able to spam Bob-omb-Bass 4 times, and they were all dead. They had no defense, and the most HP they have are both Dupless and Marilyn only having 40 HP. I was actually able to beat Emblem before she was able to make one of her own fast. And I had grinded a lot ahead of time because I learned from Vivian only that Bobbery was not going to be able to make it on his own because I didn't really have enough BP for all the fights coming up. So I had already leveled up plenty, and I had made sure that Mario had plenty of HP. Not because I lack confidence, but because I know for a fact how this game operates, and I know just how much punishment I can take. HP pluses for the win. Now, where most partners do struggle a lot, however, is Grodus. Grodus, I think, has given basically every partner except for Goombella a hard time. But what about Bobbery? Well, here's the thing. The defense that Grodus has from his Grodus X's do not impact the damage that he takes from Bomb Squad or Bob-omb-Bass or Bomb. Basically any explosives because it is not considered normal element, but an explosive attack instead. When using Bomb Squad, only the first bomb will actually be wasted on Grodus' shield. And even then, it accomplishes taking up the Grodus X's so that the other bombs, when they go off, actually hit Grodus directly. So instead of blocking all 12 points of damage, he only blocks 2, and the other 5 still hurt him, and they end up doing a whole 10. With Flower Saber Peas, however, this becomes even better, because I'm able to get away with only having 25 max FP. I use 4 by FP on Bomb Squad, basically dropping his HP all the way down to 30, and then I spam Bob-omb-Bass like there's no tomorrow. Which not only keeps the Grodus X's down, but it also does a ton of damage to Grodus himself. And when I run out of FP, I do one more attack with Bomb, and he's out. Unfortunately though, my HP ended up dropping pretty dang low, but I'm pretty dang sure that's because of freaking fire being freaky as always. And if you need any examples of that, be sure to watch all 3 parts of my Coop's only challenge through the same game. The fire looks freaking whack. But back to this game. Oh man, I got a mushroom bingo when I only had 1 HP left, and it basically saved this entire attempt. If I didn't get this, I probably would have had to use like double dip in some items to heal myself, but I don't really know how I would have integrated that. So I can't say this fight was like effortless or maybe even easy, but while it was hard, it wasn't nearly as critical as it was for everyone else. Though a life shoe would probably not have been a bad idea here. But Bowser and Kammy Koopa? Oh man, this was just funny. Now, this is a fight that I knew exactly what I wanted to do from the very beginning when I first started this challenge. I had Bobbery, and he has Holdfast. This is the one and only fight that Holdfast will ever really be useful for, and darn is it a good move. First things first, Kammy Koopa has to go. If I don't knock her out, then Bowser will never go down either, because he's going to keep getting healed. So a few bomb squads, maybe like 4 of them go her way, and then I just spam Bob-omb-Bass until she goes down. Hopefully she doesn't heal too much. But while I'm doing that, Bowser. I use Holdfast, and on the second turn when he uses his bite, I keep guarding, and he is basically unable to do anything about it. And the beautiful thing about using Holdfast as opposed to Spite Pouches with every other partner is that Holdfast can be infinitely reused as long as I have the FP for it. Spite Pouches are finite, but as long as I have the FP in reserve, Bowser is not going to get to do anything else. So I'm able to keep Bowser's AI locked while I just chip away with my own bomb, and then occasionally resetting Holdfast with my, well, Holdfast so that I can keep countering him, and there's just nothing he can do. I have him infinitely locked, and I just keep chipping him down, and when my health gets low, I heal myself. It doesn't really interrupt the Holdfast after all, it's a counter status, it's supposed to be passive. and the game recognized that I was bullying it, and it gave me a freaking invisibility from a boo after a while, and that threw off my strategy a bit. But it didn't kill it. At the end of the day, I still had way too much momentum on my side to let this attempt go, and I did most certainly end this fight on my first try. Both this and Grodus. That's a new freaking record that not even Yoshi could accomplish, and Yoshi was a god amongst partners. This old sea dog is anything but ready to retire. Bobbery, my lad, we salute you. Now how about we end this challenge on a high note? Because ladies and gents, I'm blowing this challenge up to high heaven. The Shadow Queen is all that is left, and to start this fight off, let's just say that it is relatively basic up until we get to the second phase. And just like with Cortez, you can actually finish this fight in 0, or well, as more standard, 1 turn thanks to Bomb Squad. If you separate the bombs enough where they don't like blow each other up, it allows you to cycle through the dialogue faster. Try having the bomb squads on opposite sides and it should work perfectly fine. Like having one on the left hand and the other on the right hand, and you can actually end this fight very fast, at least the invincible part of it. Before that, you're stuck using your bombs, bomb squads, and bomb bombasses trying to get through this fight as fast as possible. There really is only one optimization you can really make here, and that's using Bomb Squad basically the instant that the Shadow Queen increases her defense and attack. Any other time, and you run the risk of her boosting her defense and the Bomb Squad doing absolutely nothing. In any case, the third phase is where we do have some issues, because Bobbery does not do enough damage to be able to overwhelm the Shadow Queen without getting in peril. But on the upside, unlike Vivian, if we were to fall in the peril, then the fight is pretty much over and we do win. After all, even though Bombast is more expensive than Fiery Jinx, we can't afford the FP cost, and dealing more damage is just that, more damage. It also helps that because Bomb Squad does not really take action commands in the sense where it triggers bingos, it can also allow you to preserve the Shine Sprite bingo if you really need it, like after the Mega Wave was used on you. Bobbery also has higher HP, so it really is a lot more worthwhile to use healing items on him because they actually will last. And because Bombast does so much damage, you can actually one-shot the dead hands when they come up, unlike Vivian who can only do that with P up D down P. At some point my FP was becoming strained and I thought I was gonna lose, but I managed to find peril. Unfortunately, I was confused and Bobbery, the dunderhead he was, actually ended up damaging Mario instead, which cost us the loss of our life shrooms. Needless to say, I feel robbed. And it didn't help that we were so close to winning too. I mean, we were really close, and I could just retry this right away to see if I can finish this run, but I really felt demoralized after losing in that freaking fashion. So I would rather instead just go to the Pit of Wonder Trials and fight my way all the way down to level 50, which unfortunately also put Bobbery out of range to be in the B-list star stage. And that sucks because explosives did cause us some issues on our next attempt. Even though in the long run, I don't think it really mattered because my guards were really bad. Like imagine this, I was able to go into the final phase of the Shadow Queen with all my life streams intact on my first attempt, but I ended up dying. On the second attempt, however, I blundered 2 life streams because my guards were just not on point at all. I could have only lost like 1, but no, I ended up losing 2 because I can't guard worth my life when it really counts. And that wasn't the only time I blundered a live stream either, because I ended up losing a live stream unnecessarily in the fight with the Shadow Queen when we were in the final part of it. My HP got very low, and I was gonna Bombast to trigger that Shine Sprite bingo, but I wasn't able to get it off because I missed the guard earlier on the Dangerous Breath, and Bobbery got confused and instead attacked Mario, which both put him at low HP, but also sealed Bobbery's fate and basically guaranteed the other Lash would be exhausted because I was not able to heal myself in time. The only way this could have been worse is if the Shadow Queen targeted Mario on that same turn and maybe used another life stream. That would have been freaking awful, but it wasn't all doom and gloom. I ended up finding a way of getting myself into peril with Bobbery, and I used the boost sheet on myself as well as on Mario using like an Ultra Shroom, just so I could start slamming the Shadow Queen with Bombast. And the extra damage from Mega Rush P is absolutely titanic, dealing 15 in a single shot, which is just, it's absolutely incredible. And it's because of this we actually had a chance of winning. Like, it didn't really matter how many healing items we had, as long as we got the damage we needed, we would be okay. And honestly, after that point, I figured that I could have ended this fight with just using a few shooting stars, but I really wanted to blow the Shadow Queen up to kill her instead. Why? Because I'm just that masochistic, I guess. We're not done quite yet though, so stick around. Let's check the results out, as we see the Shadow Queen be sent back to the Twilight Realm. Well, I dare say that Bobbery has exceeded my expectations. Level 20 is a little bit high for my liking. I would prefer at least level 19, maybe a little bit better than that, but you know what? I think this is a fair level to end the challenge at. While Bobbery does not have nearly as much destructive potential as either Goombella or Yoshi, for a partner that doesn't have multi-hitting attacks unless you count Bomb Squad, he does actually do a very good amount of damage. His damage output is actually pretty dang strong, and it didn't hurt that he had options for literally every boss available to fight in the game, and even if he had him the entire way through, I don't think he'd really have any problems aside from maybe the tiny Spideys in the Glitz Pit. Like, even before getting Bombast, he has Bomb Squad for airborne foes, and that carried him very far. So this does slide him solidly in the middle of the pack, though he may even have a case for being 3rd place above Goombella, if only because I know for a fact that I missed some shot points that Goombella would have to be accounted for, considering that Gus also exists. And alas, that means that Koops will inevitably fall even further down, but you know what, he's already last place, I mean, unless you count Miss Mouse, so I don't think he has much to lose in that respect. But nonetheless, an absolutely stupendous job by Bobbery. He did fantastic. Give him a round of applause by liking the video. And if you managed to watch this far in the video, 2 things. 1, please keep watching, and 2, thank you so much for staying this long in the video. I cannot express enough how much it means to me that you care enough to keep watching. And I hope and pray that you'll be around me for much, much longer to come, because I have so many ideas for content to make still, even though this series is just about over. There are, however, other games. I do have a challenge in the works for Super Paper Mario, as well as an idea for Paper Mario 64, and a series of challenges for Bug Fables, the Everlasting Sapling. Might I suggest checking out one of those in your free time? In any case, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.